one.
Hi, everyone. This is real estate coach Craig Proctor. Hey, thanks for joining us. I have a good friend and awesome realtor in Western Canada with me today, Mr. Mike Boychuk from Saskatoon. Mike, thank you so much, first of all, for being here today. How long have you been with the Craig Proctor system?
Hey, thanks so much for having me, Craig. It's really a privilege. You know what? I've been with you and your system now for coming up on 10 years. 2013, I joined.
10 years, boy, where did the time go? And I want you to tell everyone a little bit about your background. I guess, like, how did you find me? What kind of stuff were you doing in real estate before you met me? What attracted you to this? And most importantly, things have really changed for you. Like, you've got a totally different mindset and different business. So I'm sure everybody wants to know, like, how do you be successful? How do you have these massive changes in your business? So take it away. Talk about how you found me and what's happened.
Yeah, thank you. So I was like a lot of people when we joined the business. Like, I got licensed in 2005, and I was 29 years old at the time. And actually, I was pretty. I come from an entrepreneurial family, that kind of background, and I had a business that wasn't successful prior to my real estate career. So I didn't want to do that again. It actually resulted in a bankruptcy for me, and I went into real estate.
Do you think that helped you? Because, you know, my story, I kind of dropped out of college. I dropped out of university. I think when you, and for everyone, if you're struggling right now, you're watching this, you know, we kind of fail our way to success. You talk to a lot of successful people that's like, well, I did this and I failed at it. So, I mean, I really think that probably helped you when, you know, you're an entrepreneur, you tried something, it didn't work out. You were going to make sure that did not happen to you again when you got into real estate.
Boy, you can say that again. And in fact, that was kind of like, I can tell you, my wife did not marry me for the money. Bankruptcy as a newlywed is not an easy thing. And so, you know, I became a real estate agent only with my wife's blessing. And I said, hey, look, if I can't make at least 100,000 by the end of my second year, like, I'm out. Right. I wasn't going to go through that sort of turmoil again.
So that was kind of the verbal contract you had with your wife is like, I know that other thing didn't work out. And she's probably like, now you're going to go into real estate. Yeah. But you said, give me 2 years to make 100 grand. All right. So what happened?
So I got in and I worked extremely hard. Like, I was doing everything you could. I was open housing. I was going to say,
how did you know what to do? How did you know what to do when you got in?
Well, you know what? You just do what other people do. And that's what we did, you know. So I copied I paired up. I got a mentor at my brokerage that I was at. I was at Hallmark Realty is where I started, and great place and wonderful people. And I paired up with someone, and, you know, just did everything he said to do. So,
all right. So what did they tell you to do? Just, this is refreshing. I'm going to pay attention, because probably what Mike's about to share with you is exactly what you were told to do. So what did they tell you to do?
Yeah. So, you know, we would try and contact all the people we know and try and we would do open houses. I would do 4 open houses a weekend, 2 on Saturday and 2 on Sunday, and just really beat the bushes and go hard. So we did that. And my first year was just an enormous amount of work. I didn't break any records. I think I sold 12 homes my first year. And but my second year, my work had paid off, and we started doing really good. Like, I think I was helped 50 families that year, and that was really great. Except then I ran into the immediate problem of no time, you know, and it was
it's a blessing and a curse. How many of you watching this relate to what Mike is saying? You figure it out, which Mike did in year 2, and now you're doing 50 transactions. But you realize, I've run out of time here. Like, there's no more time to give. In a way, it's funny, because following the traditional, you know, ways of doing this, you're just trading more of your time for money and more of your time for money. So how are you feeling at this point? Because you proved to yourself this is a thing. You're doing 50 transactions. You've proved to yourself, you proved to your wife, which must have been a big confidence booster, right? That, hey, I'm successful at this.
Well, it was. I mean, in that respect, it was. You know, we had enough money, and it was. There was that element to it, but it was really difficult. right? Like, I never, with my previous business, I knew how to work hard. There was no question about that. But this was a new thing where I was so tired I couldn't sleep. If that makes any
Yeah,
sense.
no,
Like,
I've been overtired.
yeah, well,
Yeah.
or just, I'd go to bed and just your mind is racing, like, oh, gee, I forgot that, or oh, I need to do this, or oh, I forgot to call that person back, or all this different stuff. And it just, it's really stressful.
Okay, so you've heard me say this before, Mike, but I refer to that as the success trap.
Totally.
Right? Like you created a business that pretty much closed out all the light in your world, and here you are, even in bed, thinking about what needs to be done, and you're giving this pretty much all your waking hours, and even when you're in bed trying to sleep. So how long did you do that for? Like, working the long 80-hour weeks and, dreaming about real estate. How long did that go on for?
So I mean, that was probably 2008 was when I realized, holy smokes, like, I can't maintain this over the long term. And and I needed to, so I started looking for a coach, and I knew that, like, at that time, I had already had a full-time unlicensed assistant working with me in my business. And that was a game changer. But I knew, hey, like, we're leaving money on the table. There was more business to do than I could get to. And right around 2008 is when I had to start turning business away. Like, I had to get really selective with who I was working with and what I was taking on. And I started looking for a coach. So I tried a few different coaches, but what I found was a lot of them were kind of really good at getting people to where I already was. I was already sort of doing well with my sphere, and was quite busy, but I was looking for someone to help me bring other licensed agents into my business.
Sure, it's hard to coach somebody beyond what your level is, right? So if your coach is doing 50 transactions and you're already doing more than that,
you bet.
It's going to be hard. Look, you can't learn how to become rich from someone that's broke.
So in 2010, I launched my team, and it, like, we brought agents in and they started helping me, and we grew a little bit, but we plateaued quickly without doing much more than we were before.
So do you remember what level that was? Like, you were doing 50 by yourself, and then when you hired a couple of people, what did you go up to?
I think so. When I got involved with you in 2013, the year before, I think we sold around 70 homes. 70,
okay. So 50 by yourself, you hired a couple of people, now you're up to 70. Now, did your life get better in the fact that you were able to reclaim any more of your time, or were you just selling more houses and still working like crazy?
There was, well, a little bit of both. Okay, so we had some agents come in, and that was great because they shared in responsibilities and helping the clients, and there was more of my ability to oversee the big picture. But I was still our own best salesperson and doing the majority of the transactions, which was not like
it's typical. I mean, it's typical that the team leader is sort of the captain of the team and the best producer. But you realized to make this really big, it couldn't just rely on you.
No, and that's when you guys contacted me. I had no idea who Craig Andrew was, and I got a phone call from someone on Todd Walter's team, actually, and they said, hey, like, you should check us out. And I said, like, hey, respectfully, like, what makes you think you can help me?
Right.
And not in an egotistical way.
No, but it's obviously a great question. It's like, what do you got for me that I don't already know, or that I can't do?
So basically, he said, we basically help people like you. That's what we do. And we have a checklist, and it gets you to a $4 million business. And, why don't you just come and see for yourself? So I went in 2013 to actually, to this day, Craig, I've never been to one of your super conferences.
Right. You just went to all the upper level meetings, right? So what did they invite you? They invited you to come for free to one of the meetings?
So
come and tag along?
I went to one of Todd's OSA workshops in Toronto.
Right.
And
so outside sales agent, everyone knows OSA, exactly. Outside sales agent. Okay.
So I was there for whatever it was, I forget, 2-3 days. And right after, I immediately joined your platinum coaching program. Because
but what happens there? Like, what kind of light bulbs, what kind of bells and light bulbs go off on during that meeting?
So it was just an absolute confirmation of what the initial invite was to me. It just demonstrated to me, holy smokes, like this is an extensive system,
right,
for helping us. Like, I wasn't interested in just being a self-employed individual and having a job. I wanted to have a business that could do more than that. And I knew that way before I even became a real estate agent, you can't do this on your own.
Yeah, if I can interrupt for 1 second, that's why they contacted you. Did everyone hear what Mike just said? There's something in Mike. And for some of you watching this, there's something in you. There's a spark in you where you want something more than just being a real estate agent. I mean, we started off the interview, Mike, you said, I'm entrepreneurial. I tried a couple of things before I got into real estate, didn't really work out, but you're still an entrepreneur inside of real estate. When you came to that first meeting, that little spark that you brought to that meeting, like we poured gasoline on that thing, right? Like, because you got to meet hundreds of real estate agents from all over Canada, the United States, that were successfully doing the thing that you wanted to do, right? Right away, you must have been thinking, if this person can do it and that person can do it, I can do it.
Exactly. Yeah,
that's really the first step, really. I mean, it's the first sale that every salesperson must make is to themselves. So look, obviously, I'm glad you came to the meeting because you've done so well with this, and you've really become great friends with hundreds of other Craig Proctor members from all over the United States and Canada that you network with. And, this is for all of you listening. I want everyone to understand that in the beginning, that's what we do. We get into the business, we look around, we copy everybody else, we're trying to figure it out. What you're looking for is a good mentor. What you're looking for is somebody that's already doing or has done successfully the thing that you want to do. Mike, you had a couple of coaches that knew how to sell 50 homes a year. Well, guess what? They ain't getting you past 50, right? Now, I was selling about 600 homes a year during my heyday. I don't know how to tell you how to get to 1,000 homes, but I could show you how I got to 600, right? So you get in the meeting, in a way, what we're talking about just reconfirms these ideas that you had. You were already in the pathway. You hired a few people. You were into marketing. You said, I'm an entrepreneur. So now you surround yourself with these good people. You join up with the Craig Proctor system. Let's talk about what happens, because there's a big leap now.
Totally. And that was, when I joined, I realized when I joined, it was a really busy time for me. I volunteered as a director on the real estate board. I think the following year in 2014, I think I was the president of our local association. So I had a lot of things going on. Right. And my wife and we had our third child in 2013. So we had a handful. But I realized, like, holy smokes, I have to undo a bunch of things in my business before I can move forward, because they weren't set up right to begin with.
All right, so almost like you have to take a step backwards to go 2 steps forwards. Give me some examples. When you say I had to undo a few things, give me some examples of things you had to undo so that you could move forward.
Well, so for example, our marketing, like it was just bad. I just was not any good at marketing.
So help everyone out watching this. What do you mean? Explain what bad marketing is, because some of you watching are guilty of what Mike was doing, and you might not even see it as bad marketing. So help everybody out here, Mike. Describe what you mean by I was doing bad marketing.
So I'll share two things because this is funny in a painful way. Okay, I used to advertise, like I had quite a few listings, right? And I would advertise all of my listings, and that was like all well and good, supposedly, that you see that happening in the marketplace, so you do that, and then I would have people call and respond, and they'd ask me a question, and I was also terrible at talking to people.
So the call conversion. So, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is where you're going, but I'm guessing that this is what was happening. You get into real estate, everyone advertises their listing, they advertise themselves. If you're into golf, you advertise yourself with the golf clubs. If you have a cute dog, you take a picture of your dog. You say you're number one, you're hardworking, you have integrity. That's what we're taught to do in real estate. So here you are advertising all your listings because that's what you're supposed to do. And you get ad calls or sign calls. And the calls go like this. Hey, Mike, I'm calling about your house at 123 Main Street. I was just wondering if that's a 3 or 4 bedroom. What would you say?
I'd say, yeah, it's 3 bedroom.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm looking for a 4 bedroom, but thanks anyway.
Pretty much. And I recognized how bad I was. Okay. So I started putting, like I thought, hey, you know what? I'll save us both some time. Myself and the consumer.
Oh, I'll just put 4 bedroom in.
You betcha.
That way they don't have to bother me, right?
You betcha. So that was,
that's funny. Yeah, that's funny.
The light came on, and it's not that like that was painful for me because I knew, hey, like these are opportunities, and I'm not good at taking advantage of them. So that everything changed when I got involved with you. I learned how to turn those opportunities into something. I learned how to advertise in a way that actually was productive and wasn't to the detriment of my client, who's the most important thing.
I'm so glad you shared that, because the reason you didn't like the ad calls and the inquiries you're getting is really just because you weren't good at it. And when you made a lot of these calls, you were pretty much getting nowhere with everybody. So how's that fun for everybody? How many of you watching this can relate to that? Like, you're accepting these ad calls or sign calls, you're making calls, and you're just not converting them, you're not making money, nothing good is coming of it. So what happens is we have this feeling of, I don't like doing this. Nobody wants to waste their time or do things that are unproductive, or if you don't know how to handle the leads or the inquiries, you kind of feel like, I don't know, you're annoying people or you're chasing people. So we taught you how to handle this, and all of a sudden you're like, okay, now I like this. Now actually being on the phone makes me money. It's something that you wanted to do because you were good at it.
Yep. Yeah, that's totally bang on. And then we also learned about a unique selling proposition, right? And we adopted the guaranteed sale program, and that was an enormous help and a really big deal in our business. So that was sort of the next thing, the step we took fairly quickly. Like, we implemented that into our business fairly quickly after I joined, and it started making a difference right away.
Okay, so we're gonna back up the bus to make sure everyone understands what a unique selling proposition is here. Mike's been with me for over 10 years, so we tend to talk in different languages inside Craig Proctor world. But if you look at the backdrop behind Mike, you're going to see it says, "Your home sold guaranteed realty. Our name is our promise." This is Mike's brokerage. He has a licensed Craig Proctor brokerage in the city of Saskatoon. There are 150 of these Craig Proctor brokerages. Back in the day, I only would license my content to real estate agents. And then, of course, this is 30 years ago, my agents turned into teams. We created the whole team concept back 30 years ago, made it very popular. So the platinum coaching level is all people with teams and big teams. And then we created a titanium level, and Mike moved up to the titanium level. These are basically people making millions of dollars a year. And then we had members that wanted to open their own brokerage. And what's the best possible name our brokerage could have? Well, what's the biggest thing that sellers want? Their home sold guaranteed realty. So a unique selling proposition is it's something that would set you apart from all the other real estate agents you compete with. So, if somebody was to ask Mike, "Hey, Mike, what do you do? I'm interviewing 3 other agents. What do you do that's different or better? Or why should I choose to go with you versus the other agents?" Mike would say, well, one of our unique selling propositions is we give you an upfront guarantee in writing that if we haven't sold your home, we'll actually buy it for the pre-agreed price in writing. So there are some conditions to this. Now, some of you watching this might get freaked out because you think it sounds super risky, or you may feel that somehow this is a bit shady, it's not ethical, it's a bait and switch and all that kind of stuff. Look, that's very normal that you might have, because you don't really understand it. You might have like a negative connotation or whatever. Keep an open mind, because even if you personally as a realtor, maybe you don't understand it or you don't agree with it or whatever, understand the most important thing is sellers in Mike's marketplace in Saskatoon love this. You're literally giving sellers a written guarantee, like an insurance policy, that if their house doesn't sell, you're going to buy it for the pre-agreed price. Now, I know a lot of you watching are like, well, I could never do that. That would freak me out. Mike, you must get stuck buying, dozens or hundreds of houses. It's not like that at all. But Mike, I'll let you add to this conversation, because you probably had the same initial reaction when you first heard about it, right? Like as realtors, well, I guess as human beings, we're always taught, to be safety, be careful, don't step off the curb. You might twist your ankle. So when you first heard about the guaranteed sale program, what were your initial thoughts?
Yeah, similar to what you said, I was, of course, a little nervous about it and didn't totally understand it, but it made sense to me really quickly, and so we adopted it really quick, and started offering it to our customers and out into the marketplace, and really, I wasn't interested in reinventing this. I just tried to do what you said, and so we put that everywhere that we are, and it started making a difference for us right away, and more importantly for our clients, right? Like people started to gain awareness that Mike's the person who will buy your home if it doesn't sell, or that sort of awareness or attitude, right? So it was pretty powerful.
Okay, once we fixed your marketing, once you got involved with the Craig Proctor system, and now you're actually making offers that buyers and sellers really care about, what happened to your production level?
Yeah, so we increased, and last year, for example, in 2021, I think we sold 116 homes.
116 homes. Okay. You want to expand your team.
Yeah.
And you're looking for talented realtors. And folks, if you're in Mike City, if you're in Saskatoon, you don't even need to call Craig Proctor. Honestly, you should just call Mike, because everything that you want to do in real estate inside the Craig Proctor system, inside of real estate, is already being done very successfully by Mike Boychuk. Now, Mike is a marketing expert because he's worked with me for 10 years. He knows how to generate a steady stream of high quality buyer and seller leads. But listen, this gets better. If you were to partner up with Mike, he doesn't just give you leads. He would actually give you preset listing appointments and buyer appointments. He gives you the Craig Proctor presentations, and he spends an enormous amount of time every week coaching up his team members so that you're super effective. Obviously, the more money you make when you work with Mike on his team, the more money Mike makes. So again, if you're in the city of Saskatoon and if you got into real estate because you want to make more money and you want to work less, this is the biggest opportunity you're going to get in the city. This is coming from me, and I work with thousands of realtors. Mike is the person you want to contact. So Mike, give us what would be the best way. Now, this is for any of you, even if you're not in Mike's marketplace, if you just want to call Mike and say, hey, man, I just want to, verify you're the real deal, and how did Craig really help you or whatever, what would be the best way for realtors to connect with you?
Yeah, sure. You can just reach me on my cell. My number is 306-717-1144. And yeah, I'm happy to have a conversation with anyone.
Yeah. So what are you looking for right now? Who do you want to recruit?
Yeah. So right now we're looking for 2 or 3 really special agents to join our team as outside sales agents. So they're going to work one-on-one with our sellers and our buyers, and help them. Really, we throw the pass and they catch it and run the ball, and that's we just try and make it that easy for them, and it's a great way to just fast forward your success and make thrive instead of just barely survive or worse.
I like your sports analogy there. Obviously, I'm Canadian, so I'm into hockey, and I can imagine if I was Wayne Gretzky's line mate, I literally just have to go to the net and tip the puck into the net, right? I'm playing with Wayne Gretzky. Folks, if you're in Saskatoon, you're playing with the Wayne Gretzky of the city of Saskatoon, and this thing is growing in leaps and bounds. You should definitely check it out. Maybe you know Mike, maybe you don't know Mike, maybe you think highly of Mike. Maybe in real estate, a lot of times people, they don't know someone's successful, but they've heard something. Look, check it out. He's a super nice guy. Okay, now here's a game we're going to play, Mike. I want you to pitch me on joining your team. Let's say that I'm in your city, I'm in Saskatoon, and I don't know, I'm with Century 21, I'm at Remax, I'm at Keller Williams. So here's what I'm thinking. Okay. So, we all have an ego. So let's say I'm over at Keller Williams or Century, whatever. And they would say this maybe, Mike, why would I give up my independence? Like I'm doing my 12 transactions a year over here at Century 21. I'm doing one. So why would I give all that up? And this is what they think, right? Why would I give all that up and lose my identity and come over and work with Mike? Well, how do you handle that?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's pretty simple. If your identity was the big component to success, then I think we'd pretty much all be mega successful. But we see that over and over, agent after agent, like that is just not the component to success.
Well, what I would say, this is a bit saucy, maybe even rude a little bit, but what I would say to an agent that said that, it's like, well, you only sold 12 homes last year. I don't think you have to worry about your identity. Like, obviously nobody knows you, right? And if you dug into that, probably 8 out of the 12 homes were friends and family. So it's not like you have any identity. These are people that had to use you. The way I would recruit agents, I remember, I think you probably heard this story, Mike. There was a guy that I really wanted to recruit. I knew he was a good salesperson, and he worked at Remax. And I had knew the guy because I'd sold his house a few years earlier, and he got into real estate. So I called this guy, and he was making about $100,000 a year, because everyone in real estate wants to talk about what they gross, right? So, I said, hey, would it be okay if you shared with like what you really net? Like after you're split with your broker and all the money you spend on marketing or whatever you're doing, what part of the $100,000 do you actually keep? Well, he finally admitted, I keep about $60,000 a year. I said, so you don't really make 100, you make 60. And then he went on to talk about how he's working 70, 80 hours a week. He just got divorced. He doesn't see his kids. I'm like, is this really worth it? You've traded your whole life. You're actually not making $100,000, like you told me. You're netting $60,000. I said, if you come and you work with me, you'll make 4 times that net in your pocket, because I pay for all the advertising. I pay for the marketing. I pay for the signs. When you list a house on the Craig Proctor team, I literally, like you said, I set you up. I set up, let's use a bowling alley. I set up the pins in the bowling alley and they knock them down. I said to this guy, you would literally, I know it sounds too good to be true, but you would go from listing appointment to listing appointment. I would coach you up and tell you exactly what to say, because I'm good at it. I've done 10,000 listing and I want to help you. The more money you make, the more money I'm. Reluctantly, this guy comes on, but he had to get past the ego part and what will the other agents. He said to me, Craig, if I join your team, the other agents here in my office will call me a Craigette. So look, you can't be worried about what other people, you got to worry about what you think about yourself. Okay. Yeah. So honest truth, this guy joins me. You know who he is. He made $240,000 net in his pocket within the first 12 months of working with me. And he actually worked less. So, of course, it's easy to recruit the second one, right? Because when I want to recruit the second one, I'm like, well, look at this guy. He's been with me a year. He's making $240,000, and here's another one making $300,000. And so that's kind of how this works. So I understand, we all have skepticism, about the guaranteed sale program, about the team. Why should I join up with Mike? Here's what I believe is going to happen here, folks, in the future. And I wrote a book on this. You've read the book, Mike. The name of the book that I wrote, it's probably 8 years ago. The name of the book that I wrote was called The Death of the Traditional Real Estate Agent and the Rise of the Super Profitable Sales Team. That's the name of the book. You can get it on Amazon. And my thinking, again, this is 8 years ago, was the future of real estate. It's going to be really extremely difficult for the solo agent to compete with the Mike Boychuks of the world. And you know that if you're in Mike City, guys everywhere, everyone knows who he is. He's got great marketing. Look at the name of his company, Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Go ahead and Google, Google Your Home Sold or Sell Your Home, Saskatoon in his city. You're going to find them all. It's for Google search. The name of his company is awesome. Now, do the same thing with Century 21 or any other company, right? Guys, we know how to play the SEO game here. This is how people do searches for anything. You're with your friends. It's like, hey, let's go out for dinner tonight. Oh, let's Google the restaurants. Anything you want to find, you go to Google. That's why we selected the name, a benefit-rich name of the company, Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Kind of tells you what we do. Our name is our promise. You list with us. Sure, you can talk to the other realtors and they'll promise you or they'll tell you, you know, here's what we hope we would get. We are literally bringing buyers to your home. Okay, this is what sellers want, an upfront guarantee that we'll sell your home or we'll buy it. Think about this analogy, folks. Imagine if you're in your city, all the car dealerships, you want to buy a new car. Imagine if all the car dealerships in your city did not have a trade-in program. You know what I'm saying? Like when you want to buy a new Lexus or a BMW or whatever, here's how it generally works. Like you could sell your car yourself. You know, you could stick it in your front lawn with a sign on it or put it on Auto Trader. You could do that. But most of us don't do that, right? Most of us like the convenience factor of driving our old car into the new dealership and driving off with your brand new car. Now, you know that the dealership's probably not going to give you exactly as much as if you sold it on your own. But for convenience factor, most of us would do that, right? We're offering a trade-in program for every buyer in Saskatoon. You see one of our listings that you like, we'll take your house and trade. You don't have to worry about it. We'll take your house and trade. Your home sold or we'll buy it. Do you know the curiosity? Imagine, even if you're skeptical, if I'm a buyer or seller and I'm in Mike's marketplace, even if I'm skeptical, even if I think this is a bunch of BS, I am at least going to eliminate this. I'm going to call Mike. Let me ask you folks, did the marketing do its job? Okay. Did Mike get somebody that's thinking of buying or selling to raise their hand and contact him? Now, some of you will be like, well, that's bait and switch. Well, yes, not everybody that inquires with Mike is going to be involved in the guaranteed sale program. It's one of many things that Mike offers. But I could say to all of you watching that you're all guilty of bait and switch. I could accuse you of that, couldn't I? I could say every realtor in North America advertises listings. That's what Mike said they told him to do. I'm going to advertise all my listings. Now, how many of you would agree that in all the years you've been in real estate and all the ad calls and all the sign calls you've ever gotten in the history of ever, what percentage of the buyers that call you off one of your listings, when you tell them about the property, says, oh my God, that's the house of my dreams, and they buy it? 1 or 2%, right? What happens? Now, Mike didn't know what to do. Mike was like, well, I'm sorry, you want a 4-bedroom, this is the 3. And they said, okay, well, when they eliminated the house, unfortunately, they eliminated Mike. Now, we coach Mike up. So now all of a sudden, Mike's like, okay, well, what are you like? 3-bedroom, you're looking for a 4-bedroom. We taught him call conversion. In other words, it doesn't matter what they're looking for, right? What our listing is, it's what are they looking for? And let's offer them how to find what they're looking for. So everyone in the country advertises their listings, knowing up front, nobody can deny this. At least 9 out of 10 people that call you off one of your listings are going to eliminate it. And then what do? You switch them on to what they're interested in. Oh, you're looking for a 4-bedroom? You might not even have any 4-bedrooms. You're going to tell them about other 4-bedroom homes that your brokerage has, or maybe your brokerage doesn't have any homes that match their criteria. You immediately would go to MLS and you would talk to that buyer about, you would tell them about homes that interest them. Why? Because you want to convert the lead into a client. Of course you would do that. So what's the idea here? we just got better advertising, folks. We're making a better offer. You're going to get more phone calls. You're going to get more business. You've got to get rid of these negative connotations in your head. If you got into real estate because you want to have more money and more time and more freedom, do what Mike's doing. The dude's an entrepreneur. He failed at something before he got into real estate. And you know what he said? And this, Mike, how many clients, Craig Proctor clients, have you met that came to me after they failed at something else? Almost all of them. Almost like, honestly, if we went through the roster of all of the most super successful Craig Proctor members that are making over $1 million a month in gross commission income, a month, not a year, a month.
Mm-hmm.
They came to me, a lot of them, and they were broke, or they tried something, or they went bankrupt, or they did this. Okay. Yep. But if you still got the spark, okay, we got the plan. That's all. You had the idea. You just needed confirmation. And you're like, hey, this doesn't make sense to reinvent the wheel. These guys have already done it. All I have to do is go all in and implement this. And it's not just Craig and Todd. We're going to hook you up with hundreds of super successful Craig Proctor members all over the country.
You got it.
Whatever question you have, they know the answer.
Yeah, Craig, like that's a really important thing that a lot of people probably have no idea when they first learn about you until they actually get involved, how important that network of people is. Like when I come to the conferences, sure, I know, like with the pandemic, there was the virtual option and stuff, but I really like missed and wanted to come back and meet with all these people again in person, because
it's like your real estate family.
Yeah, and I can reach out to, like, literally there's hundreds of people I can reach out to and connect with and brainstorm with and learn from each other and help solve a problem we got. It's a big deal.
That's one of the biggest assets that I have built over my 30 years of doing this. All these Johnny-come-lately coaches or people that try to knock me off, what they don't have is the network of super successful, loyal Craig Proctor members. They can try to copy it. They can try to knock it off. But at the end of the day, their meetings, they're not like our meetings. Their people, they're not like our people. So look, I hope everyone found this helpful, incredibly helpful today. And Mike, I want to offer you an opportunity to give some final thoughts here before we wrap it up.
Yeah, well, hey, thank you so much for meeting with me and inviting me to speak with you. It's really, I really appreciate it. And we are looking for some agents to come and join us and help do what we're trying to do, which is something really important. We're helping families go from their current home to the next home. And it's a really big deal. And we do a great job of it. And we also give back to the community that we're in, which is another great benefit that I learned how to do better when I got involved with you. So we're just really thankful for the opportunity that we've got in front of us. We're very inspired with what's ahead and excited about the growth. We have big plans. So come and join us.
I would be remiss not to mention also that Mike Boychuk is a Craig Proctor coach. He's been a coach for a number of years, so he gives back to the Craig Proctor community. He helps other realtors do what he's doing. So if you want to book a time with me, folks, if you want to find out more about what we do, you can just go to proctorcall.com. So my name, proctorcall.com, no space, just type it into your browser, proctorcall.com. And you can book a confidential, no cost, free obligation implementation call where we would walk you through like where you are now and give you some great ideas on what you could do in your business that will totally make sense to you. When you hear them, I was joking around with Mike before we got started. I said, Mike, when you came to the first meeting, it's like when you see this, you can't unsee it. When you hear it, you can't unhear it. So my goal always with a new member is to show you such an incredibly superior approach to whatever you're doing now, that it would be literally impossible for you to go back and keep doing what you're doing. Like if I gave you a much better way to do it, and you understood it and you believed it. So you're not going to go back to a worse way. You're not going to go back to something that's inferior. And that's what happened, Mike, when you came to that first meeting in Toronto. Like there was no going back to your old way of thinking or doing things. It's like now you saw, it's like stumbling around in the dark and someone flicks the light on. Really, that's kind of the experience. So if you've enjoyed this interview, let us know in the comments below. Just say, hey, you know what I really like, here's what I liked about this. And book yourself a call with me, proctorcall.com. You'll go to my Acuity Day Timer, pick a day and a time, no cost, no obligation, spend 45 minutes talking about your business and where you want to go and how we could help you. It's not a big sales pitch in any way. And what's the worst thing that could happen? If you don't like it, you can end the call at any time. You don't have to hang out. We're here to show you what we do. And if it links up with your way of thinking, we would love to work with you like we've worked with Mike and thousands of agents over the last 30 years. Now, importantly, if you are in Saskatoon, whether you like Mike, you don't like Mike, and probably if you don't like him, it's because you just don't know him. I remember, you want to call him, okay? Just get to know him. I remember in my marketplace, when I was basically kicking ass and taking no prisoners, I would have agents that I would recruit, honestly, and they'd be like, oh, we heard at our brokerage, you were so successful. You were like public enemy number one, Craig. You were like described as the devil, and we had never met you before, and you're actually like a really nice guy, right? So the more successful you become in your marketplace, yeah, you're going to have that where people for no reason at all, whatever professional jealousy or their own insecurities. So give Mike a call. If you're in Saskatoon, give him a call. You probably know him. It's not a big city. Check it out. Okay. Evaluate all your options, but make sure you include Mike, because once you see this, you can't unsee it. Once you hear it, you can't unhear it. I want to thank you, Mike Boychuk, for being an awesome Craig Proctor member over the last decade. I know the great things, the best things are yet to come for you here as we head into the new year. I want to thank everybody for watching this today. We have some loyal Craig Proctor Real Estate Show viewers that watch all of our content. I appreciate that. As you know, every Wednesday at 11 a.m. East Coast, I go live on Facebook, and I just share with you the latest and greatest ads and concepts and methodologies. No cost. We're not selling you anything. We're just giving you sharing with you what's working best for the top Craig Proctor members all over North America. So Mike, you've been very generous with your time. I'll let you get back to selling houses in Saskatoon. Thank you so much for doing this interview today.
Thanks for having me, Craig. Really appreciate it.
And thanks to everybody for watching. That's it for this episode of the Craig Proctor Real Estate Show.